Hi everyone, welcome to the StreamYard production for the Montfort University Doctorate in Business Administration, or DBA for short. We're going to run through just a small number of slides that are really pertinent for people who have maybe finished their studies a few years ago, want to come back to do a doctoral level, intrigued, interested about DBA, how it fits with a PhD, and we're going to run through some of the salient elements. So if the other presenters can be introduced and the slides uploaded, please.
All right.
Brilliant. So Victor, if you could introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, my name is Victor Atiase. I'm the director for the DBA program in the Faculty of Business and Law. Thank you.
Adib.
Hello, David. Hello, Victor. Yes, I'm Adib Rashkidi. I'm a former student and a graduate of the DBA program, and my area of specialty is AI-powered customer experience.
Brilliant, thanks. So my name's Dr. David Gordon. I'm the Assistant Director of the DBA. So if we can have the slides uploaded in the background. Brilliant, thanks very much. So let me just start off. We're going to run through just a few general areas just to give you a snapshot. It is not going to be PowerPoint heavy, but it's important that there are some factual salient bits of information in here. So what is a DBA, a Doctorate in Business Administration? It's the same level as a PhD. It's what's called level 8. Masters is level 7. Doctorates are a level 8. Exactly the same words, exactly as hard as each other, exactly the same as interest to each other, and uncovering new things. It's for senior professionals, a DBA typically, people that have had a number of years working experience, so they're able to bring that contextual application into a theoretical world and develop a kind of symbiosis of helping each other. It's around identifying something new, a new phenomenon that's happening, and using the concepts and theories and the knowledge that's out there to solve that particular problem, along with your research and new ideas that you develop. And it's an action research, so you are living it. It is part of actually what you're doing, as opposed to, if you like, being an observer of it happening. Let me go to the next slide. Victor, over to yourself.
Yeah, so there's dichotomy or some kind of differences between a DBA and a PhD. And this usually you find this in academic cycles. People ask questions. So what is a DBA? How different is it from the PhD? Now, what we want to showcase is that the DBA is a practical problem-solving approach where many of our students would engage in action research. So in this case, they apply some business strategies in solving real-life business challenges. Okay. It involves leadership and management focus because, leadership and management really are at the helm of solving problems, organizational change implementations. But when we come to the PhD, typical traditional British PhD is theoretically driven, where there is there's an expectation for academic contribution. Teaching and academic publication is the mantra. Students are expected to be trained in teaching and research. And they do what we call deep specialization. So you have to specialize in a specific academic area. But of course, there are some shared skills and knowledge across the two. The two of them involve advanced research methodology. So they are all doctoral degrees, level 8, very deep thinking, deep writing skills are needed. There's a huge amount of critical thinking and analysis involved. You need to collect data, interpret it, and identify some implications of that. You must have expertise in business concepts and practices. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Victor. Let me go to the next slide. So just a quick comparison from people's professional contextual life to a doctoral life. In a professional life, you're solving problems quickly. I come from a number of years in commerce. It was about task finish, solve the problems, move on to the next one. In a doctoral mindset, in a DBA, it's about exploring the problems quite deeply. It's being granular. It's not about the it. It's about what's affecting the it. What's behind it? What are the pressures on the it? In a professional life, it's about using your experience. In doctorally, it's about demanding evidence, being critical, always questioning. Is that right? Being reflective, what's happened in the past, but is that correct? Almost a kind of academic fact checking. Professional life, it's action oriented, whereas doctorally, it's about critical reflection and getting that questioning back on what's happened. And professionally, confirming assumptions, whereas doctorally, it's about challenging them. It's about questioning what's happened all the time, that kind of critique and questioning. So a DBA, before we get into the detail, Victor will go through the individual elements of the document that you submit. So the document you submit, if you like, the thesis, is only half of the actual DBA. It's a kind of physical part, if you like. The other 50% is the change that's happened in your mind, the new you, that you look at things critically and reflectively. But the value that it adds to your career, it adds that, and put here, it develops intellectual rigor, and gives you the ability, those tools, those lenses to see the world. It's the same world, but it's different lenses to view the world through, so that you become moving from a thought leader really to a conceptual architect, being able to describe a picture to prospects, maybe as a consultant, or to the senior board in your company. So the experience of seeing the work recognized in your organization, globally in your profession, it gives you that kind of status. The doctor title, yes, it is a status, but it's more about the way you articulate yourself and the quality of the research that you've done inside your company. Maybe if you're working outside, maybe in the third sector, the charity sector, government sector, it's about impactful solutions to policy. You are time and time again seen as that credible voice, that kind of conceptual architect, thought leader person. And lastly, so doctor on the board, ultimately it is status. And we've seen many people that have gone back into industry, so from industry into doing the DBA, back into industry, and they are seen in a different light. They will ask to be keynote speakers at events. They'll be put into maybe the consulting arm of the company. There'll be PR about them, and there'll be lots of opportunities for growth. So that's really in essence, the value. So Victor, over to yourself, please.
So one of the questions many people, potential students, ask is, what is the DBA structure, or what is the thesis structure? Now, I must say that in the Montfort University, you're expected to write 55,000 words of thesis, which is examined externally. Now, the structure could vary depending on the methodology and the supervisory arrangements or preference. But however, there are standard details that we want to see, or examiners would want to see. Normally, you would want to see anything in the range of 6 to 7 chapters of thesis. Chapter 1, as usual, is the introduction. Is the introduction to the whole idea, the whole research idea, the whole research problem, where you identify the objectives, the research questions, the aims, and the thesis structure. Just giving the examiner a whole overview of your thesis. The second part is the literature review. This is where you do a broad and detailed, contextual, theory-driven kind of review, looking at what has been done in the area, what has not been done in the area, what are the gaps in the literature, based on themes, identifying the research gaps. And this is very important for every piece of doctoral work. The third chapter is the methodology. This is where you narrate your research design, where you have to indicate what you have done, how you have done it, and you need to justify every choice in that process. Very important. Your methods, data collection tools, data analysis, and every research design details must be here. The chapter 4 is your findings, where you have to discuss or present your results as per the methods that you have utilized. You need to do some kind of main findings, identify the main findings of your work and summarize it for the readership of the examiner, your supervisors, and the general public. The chapter 5 is where you synthesize. So there's a deeper analysis where you synthesize your research, your findings in such a way that it engages the domain of literature, the domain of expertise, the domain of researchers, and then you summarize these findings. Chapter 6 is where you have a discussion. This is where you have to expand your key findings, bring in the literature again, see whether similar findings were actually found in the literature. If similar findings were not found, what was found? What were the contradictions? You need to engage the literature here. And then you have to also talk about the main research contributions. And finally, in chapter 7, you draw conclusions, where you talk about summary, you summarize all the chapters, and then you compare with the literature, and then what are the main limitations in terms of future work here. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks, Victor. Okay, let me go on to the next slide. Oh, Victor again, the timeline.
So the DBA timelines, one of the questions is how long does it take? Because everybody knows that the doctoral journey is a very long one. But in the Montfort University, we have the expectation that our students will complete their DBA in a maximum year or 4 for the full time, and for the part-time 6 years for home students. That's for home students. Now we have designed the program in such a way that in the first year you do 3 modules. The first one is review of the literature. The second one is a research paradigms and philosophies. And the third module is research design. The purpose of these 3 modules is to prepare you for your research work. They are not credit bearing, but they are very important, and you must pass before moving to the next stage. They are done in blocks, so we have 2 days block each. So all it is totaling of 4 days. So 2 days block, another 2 days block for each of them. In year 2, this is where you operationalize your study. You get into your pilot study, apply for ethics, you collect your data, you analyze your data. So this year 2 is fully devoted to your research. And we expect that you carry that into year 3, if you're a full-time student, and probably to year 4, where you do continue your field work, analyze your findings, write up your thesis, and we prepare you in this final, which is supposed to be the final year, because the final year, which is the 4th year, not every student normally would have to end up in the 4th year. So in the 3rd year, we expect that we prepare you for Viva and you have your examination. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks, Victor. So in addition to the kind of formal part of it, of which, as Victor's talked through, on-site those sessions in the 1st year, for the rest of the year, it could be that a lot of the work is done remotely. But we do have a number of events. We have 3 key events each year. One that's as a reminder for people almost who've lost track and can't see the wood for the trees, just need that refocus again of what's important. Another event that's organised specifically by the students is they're in control of the agenda. Academics, we just help with organising the rooms and what have you. And the 3rd main event we hold in June each year is a bringing together of all the PhD students and the DBA and everyone who's doing a doctorate in the Faculty of Business and Law, because there's so much collaboration and sharing. So they're the the main things that actually happen. And on top of that, every couple of months we'll organise what we call the business doctor teams. It's a remote session, 45 minutes where we have a leading global expert or a business expert that will talk about times in their career when they've had to think quite differently. They never use the word conceptually coming from business, but in effect, that's what they're doing. So we're wanting them to put that different way of thinking. So it isn't just the talk for the DBA. It's the formal teaching, but also the events and the collaboration and learning, the introduction with a whole spectrum of doctors and professors and textbook writers and journal article publishers, on top of the business interaction as well. Let me go on to the next slide. So I don't want to scare anyone, but doing a doctorate, it's a marathon, not a sprint. It's so important that you pick a subject that you are so interested in, that you maybe it could be something you're fascinated by, that you've almost cross about, that you're desperate to prove a point with. It has to be something that deep and meaningful. We say on average it's between 25-40 hours of study each week, 3 to 4 years. So much of that is reading, digesting, analysing. And we often say that the gap between an undergraduate and postgraduate, a master's, is 10 centimetres, but between a master's and a DBA, it's 1,000 centimetres. It's a huge leap up. It's not really the next step up. It's not a learning step up, the natural next step from an MSc or an MBA. It is a huge leap. We ask that people, one of the stipulations, they must have credible management work experience, so they're able to demonstrate that previous learning from a work environment. Now we realise experiences comes in different forms and different types, and in the application process, Victor, myself, and a couple of other colleagues who will typically hold those calls as two of us, we'll ask that about the experience. So we're quite open to there being a spectrum of different types of experience. And the preparation modules, they teach you new ways, new concepts and theories, and new ways to view a research area. Remember, that's what it's all about. It is not merely an MBA at a doctoral level. It's much deeper than that. It's conceptual, it's theoretical, but put in a context. And just lastly, it's not a method for instant employment. However, I've talked about previously that we've known a number of our doctoral graduates that have developed their consultancy practice, have gone back into business and had that and moved to a more senior position. It is a route for those things to happen. And so what can it give you? It gives you leadership, executive development, going and changing policy, change management projects in big organizations, future leader development. You are seen as being someone with a passion for investing, a passion and needing more and investing in yourselves. And those many people have come from, say, industry, have that recruitment experience, know that when people have got a DBA and they apply for different jobs in a business, it is really serious. They've got that real acute granular knowledge. It is organizational status, and it's revenue generation. It could be academic, if people want to stay in academia, work at another university, or different consulting opportunities. So De Montfort University, set in the heart of the UK, an incredibly diverse culture with people from all parts of the world. And that's one of the wonderful, rich things about it. We're a campus right on the edge of the city centre, so it's a couple of minutes walk into the centre of Leicester, but it is seen as a campus with its own major food village, with its own big sporting hall and facility and pool and gym and what have you. And so it's a real community. Let me go on to the next slide. So, Victor, over to you.
So Dr. Deep Rakedi is one of our recent graduates. I'm personally proud of him. The DBA team is proud of him. He's been, the brain behind the student association we have in terms of the DBA. He's done a lot of work. He's IT oriented, very skilled in AI. So Dr. Deep, welcome.
Thank you, Victor. Thank you, David, and welcome everyone. Let me tell you a little bit about my experience with the DBA and the change that it has done to my life, actually. Before enrolling to the program, I was, if I may say, well established in my career, but I needed something to stimulate my brain. I needed a new journey of change, something that makes me develop my interpersonal skills and takes me from a place to another, which is more evolved in a way or another. And everybody around me used to tell me, come on, you don't need this. This is a distraction. Okay, you can just achieve more sticking to your career than going back to study. But what the DBA has proved to me, that especially the research-focused DBA at DMU, which is more intense, I have to say, that most of the other DBAs I've got the chance to see, is not a distraction at all. It's an accelerant. It's literally a journey of challenges, as David has said. It's a marathon, and change. It's a journey of challenges and change. And in my experience throughout the DBA, it helped me sharpen my business instincts. It did that by upgrading, if I may say, my intuition with a lot of frameworks and my observation with a lot of factual evidences. And it's not only this, because now going through the presentation, it just ignited a lot of new ideas in my brain, because the skill sets that the DBA helps you to nurture and develop are very valuable in the academic world and in the practical world as well, because it makes of you more of a structured thinker. And the way you frame the problems is totally different. The depth in which you analyze them is totally different. The evidence synthesis that you can conduct are at a totally different level. And the clarity in communication is actually what clients need nowadays, because they no longer want promises. They want somebody who can deliver, somebody who can give results. And personally speaking, I would like to say that the real value to me was not only by acquiring those skills and this experience. It was through the construct, the original construct that the doctoral research produces, and your ability to translate them or to transform them along with the frameworks into some real life diagnosis tools that you can use in the day-to-day consulting projects or in your career, regardless of what industry you are in, because it bridges the gap between academic rigor and real world impacts. And I think this translation of the rigor into a real world impact is the gap that the DBA at DMU closes. So that's it in a nutshell, my experience. If there's any question, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Thanks, Adam. So I think we've got a number of questions. So the controller in the background. Are there any new questions, or are there any pre-questions that people have? Okay, Victor, do you want to dish out the questions to people?
Yes. Hi, I am interested in DBA for September intake. Can I get? Please kindly inform me. Yes, David, let me take this. Yes, our admissions this year we've done admissions in January, and we do another admission in October, September, October. Yes, so if you want to join the October cohort, yes, you would be able to join. At the end of this presentation, we'll put the application details where our emails and contact details are there. You can reach out to myself or David directly, and then we can take you through the process of application.
Any other question? Okay.
This one says, must the experience be strictly linked to DBA? For example, can a lawyer undertake a DBA related to crisis management or leadership development? David?
Yeah, no, thanks, Victor. Listen, great subject. The short answer is absolutely yes. The longer answer is that's a really interesting area. And not only that, it's an area that I could almost see being a consultant or having, you know, that legal specialism in that particular area, being seen as someone with a real uniqueness. So the short answer, yes, definitely. And as Victor said on the last slide in the deck today, we've got the actual URL for you to go through the process and make your application. It'll give you all the details. Thank you.
Let me just add a few bits to that. Because it's a business degree, you may need to make a business case. Even though you are from a legal background, you may need to make a business case or a business problem as relating to your legal career. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So this one, hi, are there any scholarships available? This is a tough one. We have few scholarships on yearly basis, very competitive. We announce it, the faculty announces it on a yearly basis. You must identify a supervisor, the supervisor must support you in your application. Yes, so we do have few, but I can say that they are very competitive. Why not? You can still participate. Yes. This one is my international work experience recognized. David?
Yeah, thanks, Victor. Absolutely, definitely having that global experience. And it makes me think, I mean, commercial life, for people to get to a very senior exec role, they will want people to have had that global experience, that understanding of different cultures. So short answer, yes, very applicable.
Good.
Any other questions?
So FAQs, is it expected to have an academic career after a DBA? Adib, from your experience, tell us, how does academic career after the DBA looks
From
like?
my experience, the DBA is like an extra layer of security or opportunities in a way or another, because like I'm doing right now, I am teaching at the university. At the same time, I'm still conducting my consultancy work. So you can definitely get the best of both worlds. And this is why it creates a pracademic beast out of you, which is a practitioner and an academic at the same time.
So what do you mean? What you mean is coming from an academic from a practical background is a very good advantage.
Definitely, because you bring on to class
launching
hands-on experience.
Okay, brilliant. Do I have to be an expert in math statistics to do a DBA?
Oh.
David, you want to take that?
Yeah, sure. You will know whether you like numbers. It doesn't mean to be, I'm not saying that you have to be an expert, but you'll know, much like you know whether you're a good artist or good at a musical instrument, you'll know whether you like numbers or numbers that make you cautious or not. And typically in any doctoral study, there will be primary research. There will be an element of that. You analyze your research as Victor talked through with the structure of the DBA, you do the analysis. Depending on what sort of research you're doing, there will be a different way of analyzing it. Some of the research it will require some numerical statistical analysis, but not every single one. You, if you like, you make the choice. So Adib, tell us about your analysis. Did you use much maths and statistics?
I went for qualitative research and thematic analysis. So to answer your question, no numbers, no statistics, no mathematics. But I have a lot of colleagues within my cohort who have chosen quantitative methods and who went deep into statistics and numbers.
Okay.
So as you said, David, it depends actually on the approach you adopt to develop your research.
And let me also add that when we assess your proposals from the application stage, we try to align you with some supervisors, and we know their expertise, we know their background. So the proposed methodology in your proposal would give us some indication whether you want to go for quantitative work or qualitative work. And that is the beginning. But of course, you can change along the way, but there is no strict requirement for mathematics or statistics at all.
Brilliant. Any other ones?
So this is a question. I am currently studying a master's in project management at UMU. Brilliant. Could I apply for a PhD scholarship, and what would the process be? I think that you may need to contact myself or David directly. We can post you to specific requirements for these scholarship details. So check after this, you see our contact details, and then we can put you through. Can a DBA help in landing a role as a commercial consultant? Adib, you are a consultant. Tell us, how has the DBA helped you to become a consultant? Or to improve?
As I mentioned earlier, the DBA will equip you and nurture some existing skills that you have, and it will equip you with a skill set that every consultancy requires, because it helps you address the problems of your clients in a totally different way, in a way that you go deep enough to provide real solutions and deliver real answers to the problem. So I think it's definitely an edge when it comes to commercial consultant, or in any industry and any field, whether it's legal or medical or business, whatever it is. I think it's definitely a plus.
And I know David has spent lots of years in the industry. David, what do you think? And you've done a DBA as well, so you would know how the DBA has helped you in terms of commercial career.
Yeah, no, Victor, thanks. I've kind of dotted in and out of commercial roles in academia. I was in commercial life for about 30 years, covering my own small businesses many years ago. But I always had an itch I needed to scratch. I always had that need for something, for discovering something new. And we all have different motivations for getting into a doctoral level and for particular interests. But on the consultancy side, I worked for a large global IT company for 15 years. And their consultancy arm, that was full of people who were doctors. There was a couple of professors there that were, very prolific writers in particular areas. But that consulting arm, it did have a lot of doctors in, and they'd be identified. Many organisations do this. They identify an industry area or phenomenon that's happening. It could be cloud those years ago, AI, could be supply chains, and they identify maybe a team of the 20 experts of the world. And they try and recruit those people to form a community of practice, a body of knowledge. So absolutely, yes.
Brilliant.
Can I add something if you want, Victor, as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, because David mentioned earlier the conceptual architect, I think he called it. Like, I would also like to add to this, like you become like a forensic consultant. So you don't only see the what in the in the business challenge that you have. You see the why, the how, you critically analyze it, and it takes you to layers of analysis way deeper than the usual consultant.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Adib. How many days am I expected to be on campus? Okay, so like we said earlier, each of the modules are blocks. We do it in blocks. So you're looking at 4 days each for each module. So in total for the whole year, that's 12 days. Okay. But then we expect students to engage in some of our events or all of our events, the Ripple event, PGR conference, and many other events that we want you to engage in. Apart from that, we have a space for you in the faculty. We have special doctoral rooms for you to engage with your colleagues, to engage with the faculty. We have the library. So as many days you can spend on campus, you can spend. But then there are some mandatory ones, like the 2 days block. So 12 days in a year, that is mandatory. And then the other events that also come with it. So yes, there are mandatory ones, but as many days you can spend on campus. You are welcome. David.
Brilliant. No, thanks for that, Victor. Thanks, Adib. So we've talked you through, I guess, the mechanics of what it is, the DBA, the actual elements of it, the benefit of coming to De Montfort University to do the DBA. It's not just the actual teaching of the concepts in the first year and that supervision help. Everyone gets 2 supervisors, but it's much richer. It's that collaboration, collegiate approach with other colleagues. Everyone shares at a doctoral level, and that collegiate approach with reaching out to other experts in the university. Everyone wants to help doctoral students, and it's contact with industry. So it's the whole package. So thank you very much for attending. We had on the last slide, so the contact address. Please contact the look at the URL. Also, Victor and myself are available if anyone wants to link on LinkedIn or ask particular questions. They can find us there. And yeah, we very much look forward to hearing your inquiries, receiving your proposal, being on the interview panel, which is not an interrogation, it's a really friendly chat, and hopefully joining in October. So thank you very much, everyone.
And David, let me just add that you don't need a supervisor to apply for a DBA, because some students ask, oh, do I need to look for a supervisor? No, we would arrange a supervisory capacity in terms of supervisors for you. We will give you supervisors who will take you through the whole journey. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Thank
you.
you.